Hi there. Hello, Mr. Filipov.
Hello.
Over the past 2 weeks, I've been analyzing how different nutrients affect the blood glucose level. As for carbs, it's more or less clear. But proteins and fats raise questions. Different forums feature different opinions on this. Some say they affect it, others claim they don't. I'd like to know your professional opinion.
Look, proteins and fats can affect blood glucose levels. Proteins and fats split into their components during digestion. In the liver, they may turn into glucose, and it may be released into the blood. In fact, this process is possible.
I see. And how should it be reflected in the diet?
This is a more complicated question. First, if we speak of a person with diabetes, it is important to understand what type of diabetes it is. For people with type 2 diabetes, the effect of fats and proteins is insignificant even if they take insulin. Their own insulin level is enough to neutralize the effect of fats and proteins on the glucose level, even if they take insulin shots.
And type 1?
If we speak of a person with type 1 diabetes, in this situation, they have no insulin of their own. And some of these people should take into consideration the effect produced by fats and proteins on the blood glucose. Not all of them. And we can't say beforehand who should consider it and who should not. We should check first. Fortunately, the test is tasty.
They should check it experimentally, right?
Absolutely. So here's the test. It takes 2 days. You should make yourself have the same meal for 2 days in a row. For instance, breakfast. You've had something for breakfast today and should have the same food tomorrow. An ordinary standard breakfast, for instance, classic English breakfast. Do you like oatmeal porridge?
If I have to,
Then buckwheat.
that's better.
So you've cooked your favorite buckwheat, the same amount for today and for tomorrow, using the same recipe, with butter and milk, but it should be the same. Calculate the insulin dose. Test your glucose level, take insulin for this amount of food, and repeat it tomorrow. Retest the level 4 or 5 hours later, both today and tomorrow. But tomorrow, you should eat something rich in fats and proteins, in addition to buckwheat. For example, 3 fried eggs with bacon.
I can do that.
And cheese. It's up to your taste. It may be a sea fish. Plenty of food that is very rich in fats and protein.
And test blood.
Thus, we didn't eat extra carbs. We consumed the same amount of carbs, and the insulin dose was the same. We see the result. If on day 2, the result of the test, taken 4 to 5 hours after meals, significantly differs from that on day 1, then fats and proteins affect you. Many people with diabetes say that there's no effect.
And then they don't have to worry.
They may not take it into consideration, but if the test demonstrated the effect, then it should be taken into consideration. But there's a question how. There are different approaches. In different countries, in different institutions, there is no common approach, as is the case with carbs. The simplest instruction, one of the simplest systems, is adopted in the United States. They recommend to consider 200 grams of food rich in fat or in protein, an equivalent of 1 bread unit. We understand it's not the bread unit, but its effect on the blood glucose will be the same as after consumption of 1 bread unit. Therefore, the same amount of insulin is required.
Thank you very much, Mr. Filipov. It seems that I know better how different nutrients affect the blood glucose.